Hello, good morning to everybody in the US. Good evening to everybody in India. Welcome to the Pravachana Malika talk number 37. Today, a talk is on Sandhya Devi and Sandhya Vandanam, a Vedic meditation on the Supreme. And we're very thrilled to have Dr. Karanam Aravinda who is IPS retired Director General of Police, AP Hyderabad, a Vedic and Sanskrit scholar and author. So today, we'll have Kusumanjali and Sangeetanjali, and my father will introduce the speaker, and we have concluding remarks by Sri Ramachandra Sharma Garu and Sri Kasi Butler Rama Sharma Garu. So we'll start with the Vedic Kusumanjali. Please, Ramachandra Garu.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaః Harihi Om Ganānaಂ Tva Ganapatikum Havamahe Kavim Kavīnāmupamashravastamam Jyeshthārājam Brahmanām Brahmanaspata Anashranvannotibhisse Dasadanam Prano Devi Saraswati Vajebhirvajinīvate Dhīnāma Vitriyavadu Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwarah Gurus Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaः Sadashivasmarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां नारायण स्मारम्भां व्यास शंकर मध्यमां अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां ओम श्री महागणाधिपतये नमः श्री महासरस्वत्यै नमः श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तिष्ठवागुंसस्तनूभिः यशेम देवहितं विदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ओम शान्तिः 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 सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधेतमस्तमा विद्विषावहै ओम शान्तिः 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 हरिः ओम
ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यसेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः
स्वस्ति न बृहस्पतिर्ददातु ओम शांति शांति शांतिः ओम अग्ने नय सुपताराये अस्मान् विश्वानि देव वयुनानि विद्वान् युजोध्यस्मज्जुहुराणमेनो भो इष्टां ते नम भुक्तिं विदेम ओम शांति शांति शांतिः ओम आब्रह्मन् ब्राह्मणो ब्रह्मवर्चसी जायताम् आराष्ट्रे राजन्यः शूरैषभ्यो अतिव्याधि महारथो जायताम् दोग्ध्रीं धेनुर्वोढान्नड्वान् आसु सप्तिः पुरन्धिप्योषा जिष्णोरतेष्ठाः सभेयो युवा अस्य यजमानस्य वीरो जायताम् निकामे निकामेन पर्जन्यो न वर्षतु फलवत्यो न वोषधयः पच्यन्तां योगक्षेमो न कल्पेताम् ओम शांति शांति शांतिः ओम आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणचक्षुः स्तोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वो ब्रह्मोपनिषदम् मानं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मामा ब्रह्म निराकरोतु अनिराकरणं मस्तु निराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु ओम शांति शांति शांतिः ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम नमस्ते
Thank you, Shivalinga. Thank you, Ramachandra Garu. So I'll play the Sangeeta invocation, Sangeetanjali.
जयाय जय भद्राय हर्यश्वाय नमो नमः नमो विश्वरूपं त्वां नमामि परमेश्वरीम् जालन्धरसुपीठस्थे जपाकुसुम भासुरे जालन्धर सुपीठस्थे जपाकुसुम भासुरे जालन्धर सुपीठस्थे जपाकुसुम भासुरे जालन्धर सुपीठस्थे बालार्ककोटिप्रभे 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 बाले परिपालिसौ जालन्धर सुपीठस्थे जपाकुसुम भासुरे जालन्धर सुपीठस्थे भवरोगनिवारिणीं भवरोगनिवारिणीं भक्तजन परिपालिनीं भवरोगनिवारिणीं भक्तजन परिपालिनीं नवशक्ति स्वरूपिणी नवशक्ति स्वरूपिणी नवशक्ति स्वरूपिणी नवशक्ति स्वरूपिणी नाद हरि केशराग्नि जालन्धर सुपीठस्थे जपाकुसुम भासुरे
I think some problem is there from her network.
Yeah, we can next continue. Thank you. So, thank you, Deepta from Bangalore, Vedadhyayana Kendra student, for rendering excellent Kriti, which has lot of reference to solar energy, Arka Koti Prabhe, and have Shakti Swarupini, embodiment of new energy. And therefore, this particular Kirtana has so much of impact on the present talk. That is, we're talking about talking about Sandhya and Sandhya Vandanam, a most important rite. And moreover, this Kirtana has been done by the Muttaya Bhagavatar in Raga Valaji, as she sent the caption describing it. So thanks to her and for a melodious singing. And now, Prasad, shall I introduce? Today we have Dr. Sri Aravinda Garu. It is our fortune that he, in spite of so many engagements and all that, he has agreed to give a talk on the book, I mean on Sandhya and Sandhya Vandanam, and he has written a book by himself, and it is really important for us that we could meet the author also, and we released this particular book in our Nadaveda Adhyayana Kendra. Sri Ramasarma Garu brought some copies and so distributed also to many people, because this is a very important mandatory right which is common to Brahmana, Vaisya, Kshatriyas, depending on the time that they get the Upanayana. Brahmin is eligible, Brahmin boy at 8th year, and a Kshatriya boy at 12th year, and a Vaisya boy at 16th year. So there is that kind of time gap given by our Smritikaras, because by birth and by caste, I mean, profession, dharma, they have more things to dispose. Therefore, a Kshatriya is given 12th year and onwards, 8 years. Aga sa Gayatri Nati Vartate anta. So they can, in a course of 8 years, they can be introduced the Upanayana Samskaram, where from they become Dvijas. Otherwise, as Manusmriti says, Janmana Jayate Sudraha Samskara Dvija Uchyate. So this is the most important samskara which transforms the Sudra, service-minded people, into the Dvija, where we has got some opening, entry into the Vedic world, and and Brahmopasana and all those things. So wonderful thing. I'm not going to talk much about it. Sandhya Devi and Vandanam. And to talk about Dr. Aravinda Rao Garu, it is a big runs to pages, but he has been able to manage the spiritual line, at the same time professional line, at the same time all those things he was able to manage. And he has written so many books. Just he sent his biodata. I cannot read all of that here, but you can see that there is a combination in it, and it's very difficult for people who are especially in police service to be able to be paying attention to this kind of religious duties and Sanatan Dharma. And not only that, he is every now and then found in the YouTube also talking about Sarala Samskritam, and several lectures are there on Hinduism, how to be Hindu and all that. So it will take long rope to introduce fully Dr. Aravinda Rao Garu. And when he wrote book also, and he just sent me the copy and e-copy and all that. So anyway, Sandhya and Sandhya Vandanam are the most important primary duties to anybody who claims himself to be a Brahmin or Vaisya or Kshatriya. So, and Gayatri Upadesam, Gayatri mantra se, Nagayatriya param mantram, Namatu paradevatam. So when Gayatri Upasana, whatever it is, however much it is the most important. And the photograph which you see that, say, has to be done in very Pratah Kala, and outside the house to do, or before a well or a river bank and all that. There are so many things about Sandhya Vandanam. And best is to do outside, near riverside or near the well or near the garden. So many things are there. And so Sandhya and Sandhya Devi Namostute, and Sandhya Vidye Saraswati. So like that, there is a lot. And moreover, there is a Gayatri Hridaya Stotras are there, Gayatri Ramayana Stotras are there. So Gayatri and Sandhya Vandanam itself is a big library. So many people have reflected on that. Today we have got Sri Aravinda Rao Garu to talk. I just with namaskaram, welcome you, sir. Then we have got also this Ramachandrudu. He is an IT professional, at the same time very good in the Smartha section of the traditional Smartha Vidwan. He is at the same time, he is also balancing the professional life for earning and becoming happier, and also this traditional achara system. So we are having a good combination here. And Ramasarma also just now said he may be joining a little late or so. So all these people now we have got to make our Sandhya Vandanam very well noted to all people, because people spend lakhs of rupees from America and other countries in India, come to India upon conducting the Upanayana, almost like marriage, they do it in India, and morning in the house domestic ceremony, Upanayana, and in the evening reception for the Upanayana boy. That is what is now present practice. I have attended some of that morning. They call some people only family people, and in the evening it is extended to all people. They stand in queue to greet the boy. I don't know, like married couple, whatever it is. But afterwards, the boy forgets about it. He only remembers that function, and he will never do Sandhya Vandanam. If at all, in the beginning they do, afterwards they get into the. It should be a mandatory job. And now Aravinda Garu is going to explain the importance, power, and the benefit and influence we import from that. Thank you very much, sir. Welcome. Please start your talk. You can take 70 or 60 minutes for your full time.
Om Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om. Thank you, Dr. Prabhakar Garu, for your kind words of introduction. In fact, you have told more than what I deserve. And you have also given an introduction to Sandhya Vandanam and its fate, let us say. We can call it fate now in our hands. So what is happening is, you are right. People come from America and all those places, and then they do they have this function in a very grand style, and then they do forget about it. And in fact, I wrote this book on the occasion of the Upanayanam of my grandson, my first grandson. On the occasion of that boy's Upanayanam, I wrote this book. And in fact, I took liberty to give him a slightly condensed version of it also, but I am not, it is not actually approved by tradition. But somehow that boy is doing it every day without fail. Every day that condensed version is doing without fail, whether he goes to the Pacific Ocean or somewhere on the banks of Pacific, or somewhere in some other Hawaii Islands, or whatever, wherever he goes. So he performs the Sandhya Vandan right at that time. So not only he, his younger brother also. So that is how somehow they are happy with that. So coming to this subject, first of all, I express my thanks to Dr. Prabhakar Garu for having given me this opportunity to share some of my ideas on this Sandhya Vandan. It is a slightly homely meeting, because if it is a large gathering, then I'll be slightly okay. I have to say modulate my, speech in such a way that I'll be speaking to a big audience or anything like that. It is more like
So
a family gathering.
Sorry, it goes to YouTube. So a lot of people see, 1,000 people would see slowly. So you can just do this.
Okay. So anyway, it's I'm more comfortable in this group. So coming to this subject, first of all, I do not know, as Dr. Pravachana Malika said, maybe some people will listen to it later. So I have to keep that also in mind. So first of all, how we can introduce this, the whole subject of Sandhya Vandanam, I thought was, our scriptures, they talk at two levels. One is at the level of religion. Religion means some rituals they do prescribe. And then at the level of philosophy. At the level of religion means that is for all of us, for the common man, who has some little bit of time to perform some rituals. He may have some time, he may not have some time, but then the religion says you have to do this. There are certain karma. Karma means some activity. Karma is karma. We should not. Karma again is a confusing. It can be a confusing word for those who are totally unaware of our tradition. Karma doesn't mean fate or anything. Karma means our action. Karma also means the fruit of our action, depending on this account, depending on the context. But here, when we are talking about karma, we are talking about a ritual. We are talking about a ritual. It may be Sandhya Vandana, it may be Devatachana, it may be Vratam, it may be Yajna. All these things are called karmas. Karma is to kru dhatu, that is karma, that is some action. So our scriptures, they talk at two levels. That is, from the point of view of an ordinary man, If they talk about the great ideas about what is the supreme reality and what is Brahma and Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma or things like that, that it is not easily understood by the common man. Moreover, the common man also needs some discipline in the society. The religion also, our teachers, they also thought of inculcating some discipline in the society. So from that point of view, they have introduced some rituals. So this is what the basic thing we have to understand. And at the level of philosophy, they will teach about the Upanishadic thought, and then what is that supreme reality, what is the Jiva, and what is the connection between, what is the relationship between the Jiva and the Brahma, what is Jiva and the Jagat. So all these things they will tell. So that is how the whole structure is. And the when they introduce some rituals also, if we see the way our rituals are structured, we also see that the sages or whoever have prepared our rituals, they have also done it in such a beautiful way that even in these rituals there are very many passages which are philosophical in nature. For example, we do Devatarchana. In the Devatarchana, what do we see? Usually, people do, most of us, they do, most of us, we do. In the morning, the first thing we do is Sandhya Vandana, and later we do Devatarchana. In the Devatarchana, what do we do? Devatarchana, we say Purusha Sukta. We tell some little bit of maybe Uttaranarayana also, and also some one or two anuvakas of Rudram. So we tell these things. And what does Purusha Suktam say? Purusha Suktam is a philosophical passage. It is a philosophical passage to visualize the whole universe, the whole creation as one organic entity. Uttaranaranam again is the same thing again in a slightly different words. What we call that Brahma, Brahma, Sashiva, Sahari, Sendra, Sotshara, Paramaswarat, what you are calling that supreme reality, that itself is Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Rudra, all these things, they are Akshara Para Brahma. And that is the thing which is not different from you. Your essential nature is not different from that. So that is what that mantra says. Rudram again is a philosophical exercise. It is a philosophical meditation to see every being on earth, everything in the creation as forms of, as manifestations of that Rudra. Here you call it Brahma, but then in that Rudranuvaka, you are seeing the whole manifestation, the whole universe as a manifestation of that Rudra. So that is how we find so many people in the whole section, all the cross section of society. All names are mentioned. Namo Athakarebhyah, Yushukrubhyah, Dhanvibhyah. Then again, Namo Mahadhyah, Shullakebhyah Shavonam, Stena, even thieves. All those people are mentioned there. So that means you are trying to see that all the entire humanity as manifestations of that reality. So even in our rituals, what our sages have done is they have introduced philosophical passages. And Sandhya Vandanam is again one such ritual. In Devatarchana, again Devatarchana, you are worshipping gods, and then there is also a wish list. There is a Sankalpa. There is a Sankalpa, Mama Upata Durtakshayadvara, Ana Upata Durtakshayadvara, it doesn't come there. In Sankalpa, there is Mama, what is that? Dharmartha, Kama, Moksha, Chaturvidha Palasma, Purushartha, Siddhyartham, etc., etc. All those things. If you go to a temple, they also prepare a very large Sankalpa. Rajadware, everywhere you will get success, and Vidya Prapti, Dhana Prapti, all those things they will say. But in this Sandhya Vandana, there is no big Sankalpa. Mama Upata Durita Kshayadvara Sri Parameshwara Prithyatham. That is, you are trying to purify the mind. Here there is no wish list here. It is not a prayer, but it is a meditation. And in fact, rightly, the title today is also Vedic meditation, it is said. If you see the title in that invitation, that title says Vedic meditation. In fact, the correct swarupa, the correct nature of the Sandhyavandan is that it is a meditation. And this is said to be a Nitya Karma. Nitya Karma is again to be understood. Nitya means something which is mandatory. So, Nitya literally means every day, but then Nitya Karma is something which is mandatory in nature. That is, there are certain activities, there are certain rituals which are called Nitya Karmas. Karma, as I said, is an activity, is a religious activity. So in those, there are certain karmas which are different in nature. So our sages, they prescribe, yes, you have to do these things every day. That is a nitya karma. There are certain other things called kamya karma. That is, I have a desire. I have a desire to achieve some heaven. I have a desire to get some punyam. I have a desire to get my promotion. I have a desire to get some Rajya Prapti or something like that. We see our chief ministers performing some Chandi Yagas, and then 10,000 people sitting there, and then 10,000 Yajna Kundas, and then that Ayuta Chandi Yagam. So that is a Kamya Karma. Kamya is you desire some fruit and then you are doing it. But here Nitya Karma is something which is mandatory in nature. If you do not do, if you perform it, you may not get any great, any positive thing. But if you do not do it, there is a pratyavaya. Pratyavaya means if you do not do it, there is some sort of negative marking. There is a negative marking in this. So that is how our people have structured it. So Sandhya Vandana, coming to this Sandhya, what is the meaning of Sandhya? Sandhya is samdhya. Samyak dhyayate anaya iti Sandhya. Athava samyak jnayate atmatattvamanaya iti Sandhya. That is the nature of reality is properly meditated. Samdhya means samyak dhyayate. That is, it is actually a right meditation or a good meditation, excellent meditation. So that is what it means. Sam is, it is an upasarga. Sam is something which is good. Dhyayi, chintayam. So that is a good meditation. That is a meditation which will tell you, or rather which tells the meditation in which the person who is performing it, he reminds himself of his own divine nature 3 times a day, because we are asked to do it 3 times a day. If not 3 times, at least many people do. Some people at least do every day, at least once in a day. Some people do at least twice in a day. Very rarely people do 3 times a day. In fact, I do only 2 times a day. So then, the Sandhya Vandana, Sandhya is reminding ourselves of our own divine nature. That is what exactly is this Gayatri Mantra. The meaning of Gayatri, the literal meaning, what is the etymological meaning? Etymological meaning is Gayantam Trayate iti Gayatri. That is, it protects somebody who recites it. How does it protect? That is, if you know the meaning only, it protects. If you do not know the meaning, okay, there can be some little bit of phalam. But then if you know the meaning everywhere, we have to know the meaning of the ritual. If we know the meaning of the ritual, it becomes a meditation. Even Devatarchana, when we recite Purusha Sukta, when we recite Uttaranarayanam, all that becomes meditation if we know the meaning. So that is what Upanishad also says. Yadeva vidyaya karoti, tadeva viryavattaram bhavati, it says. When we know it, when we know the meaning and then perform it, then it becomes stronger. It becomes a real meditation. It becomes a philosophical meditation. In fact, in modern times, we also hear about guided meditation. Suppose many people, they go to ashrams. People go to some Ramakrishna Mission ashram or Chenmaya ashram, and then we do spend long weekends. And then there are some sessions called guided meditations. In that guided meditation, what do Swamijis do? They will ask you to do Panchabhuta meditation. That is, a human being is a product of these 5 elements, Prithvi, Apas, Tejo, Vayu, Akasha. Or it will be on some other meditation, some other aspect of philosophy. So this guided meditation is structured in such a way that it will take you step by step. That is negating the lower self. That is Annamaya Kosha, Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, etc. All these koshas. That negating all these things. That is again one structure, one type of meditation. So similarly, Sandhya Vandana is a guided meditation in which you are asked to contemplate on your own nature. Contemplate on that reality which is manifesting in every antahkarana. In fact, if we see Purusha Sukta also, Purusha Sukta is the very first line of Purusha Sukta is that Sahasra Shirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapad. And what does the commentary say? Commentary says, that commentator, if we see Sayana's commentary, Sayana says that all the antahkaranas of all the beings, they are the heads of Virat Purusha. And all the Indriyas, Aksha is Indriya, Sahasraksha, Aksha is Indriya. the infinite number of heads and infinite number of limbs of all the beings. Limbs means organs, sense organs, and also motor organs of all the beings. They belong to that Virat Purusha. So that means you and we are not different. You are also one head of that Virat Purusha. What I call myself is also the head of the Virat Purusha. We are all part and parcel of one large entity. So that is the contemplation of oneness of the whole creation. So that is what we see in that Virat Purusha. The same thing we see in Gayatri Mantra also. Gayatri Mantra also says, Bhargo Tats Savituhu Varenyam Bhargaha Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Savituhu, that particular creator. Bhargaha Dev, then Savituhu Devasya Bhargaha. Bharga is that brilliance, that brightness, that essence. So Dhimahi, we meditate on it as our own nature. We meditate on it means not in a mode of duality. That is something different. I am something different. Not in that mode of duality, but meditate it as my own nature. Not I, we. It is a Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha. Naha is again a plural. Dhiyaha Yo Naha Prachodaya. That is that thing which is activating the antahkaranas of all of us, it says. All of us means the whole of humanity. It doesn't belong to a particular religion or anything like that. What we call that supreme reality called Brahman, is defined as Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, according to Upanishads. That is the simplest definition which we find in that Taittiriya Upanishad. And in English, if we want to translate, it means infinitely existing consciousness. Infinitely existing consciousness is the thing which is manifesting in all the antahkaranas. It is activating all the antahkaranas. That is the meaning of Gayatri Mantra also. And my real nature is not different from that. That is what it says. So that means you are contemplating, or rather you are reminding yourself that you are that divine entity. Not only you, but every being is a divine entity. When I say I am divine, it is not an arrogant or it is not an egotistical statement. It means that every being is divine. Every being, not only human being, but every being, it may be a mosquito or a scorpion or anything. Every being is divine in nature. So that is what it means. So it is meditating on the oneness of the whole creation. It is meditating on the divine nature of the whole creation, and we also bring in between the sun god, Suryascha, Manyascha, etc. So Surya, why does Surya come into picture? Surya, or the sun god, is the brightest manifestation of that supreme reality. That is the only thing. Beyond that Surya, there is no other brightest manifestation. And here in the Upanishads also, whenever we refer to Surya, that particular supreme reality which is manifesting in that Surya, the same reality is manifesting in my eye. So that is what also that Upanishad mantra says. Dakshine Akshin. Certainly, I don't recall that because I didn't plan to tell about that. Suddenly, it came to my mind. So that reality which is manifesting in that supreme, that sun, the same thing is manifesting in my eye. That is the brightest manifestation is that supreme, that sun. So whatever is manifesting there, it is the same. My nature is the same reality. So that is what that Upanishad line says. So like that, if we have to know the meaning, if we know the meaning, it becomes a philosophical meditation. If we see there's some examples like that, if we just see, if you want some examples in the Sandhya Vandana itself, we see the Gayatri Mantra itself. As I said, Gayatri Mantra is identifying with that supreme reality, that is, which is activating the antahkaranas of all the beings. That is one thing. There is another mantra in between. Udyantam astanyantam adityam abhidhyayan kurvan brahmano vidwan sakalam bhadramashute asav adityo brahmedi brahmaiva san brahma apyati. Brahmaiva san brahma apyati. That is, what does it mean? He is already Brahma. Brahmaiva san, Brahma eva san, Brahma apyati. So while being Brahma, he realizes that he is Brahma. So what a wonderful mantra, you see. Udyantam astanyantam. That is the sun, contemplating on the sun who is rising and also the sun who is setting. Adityam avidhyayan brahmano vidwan sakalam bhadramashute. Asav adityo brahmeti. Asav aditya brahma. This aditya whom I am seeing is not different from the Brahma. And Brahmaiva san Brahmapyati. And the person who is meditating, he also realizes that he is that Brahma. Whether he did not know all the while, but then now he realizes Brahmaiva san Brahmapyati, Asavadityo Brahma, etc. Then again, if we see, for example, uh, uh, if we see this, what is this? Nyasa, Anganyasa, Karanyasa also. This we see Karanyasa, for example, Om Tatsavitu Brahmatmane Angushta Dhyanamaha, we say Brahma, we say Brahmatmane is not that supreme Brahma, but this Brahma Vishnu Maheshwara. Tatsavitu Brahmatmane Angushta Dhyanamaha, Varenyam Vishnuatmane Tajani Dhyanamaha, we get Vishnu. Then again, Bhargo Devasya Rudratmane, Rudratmane Madhyamabhyan Namaha. Then again, Dhimahi, Dhimahi Satyatmane. Then what is this Satyam? We have first three things. We said Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra. And then again we are coming to Satya. And then again we say Dhiyo Yonah Jnanatmane, Satyam Jnanam. Then again Prachodaya Sarvatmane, Sarva is that Anantam. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, what is told in that Upanishad, that Taittiriya Upanishad. You are coming to that. In this, Tatsavidur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat, when we are doing the Karanyasa and also Anganyasa. Anganyasa again the same thing we say. So, Brahmatmane, Vishnuatmane, Rudratmane, Satyatmane, Jnanatmane, Sarvatmane. So that means what we are contemplating in this Sandhya, this Gayatri mantra is something which is beyond this what we call Trimurti. Satyam, this Trimurti is again, it is a manifestation in that Hiranyagarbha only. If you see Vedanta, in that Vedanta, pure Brahma, or what we call Nirguna Brahma, it is something which is not manifesting, that itself directly doesn't speak to us. In that Nirguna Brahma, because of the power of Maya, the first manifestation is in the form of Hiranyagarbha. It is also called Ishvara. And Hiranyagarbha is called Sarvadevatmaka. Because Sarvadevatmaka means what we call Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, etc. And all the gods we call Indra, Varuna, all the deities. All these things, they are part and parcel of the Hiranyagarbha. So that is what we see in Vedanta. So like that, we see these mantras. We see the Gayatri mantra, whether it is Suryascha, Mamanyuscha, Manupatayascha, etc. Then again, Uddyantam, then again, Anganyasa, Karanyasa, everything. All these things we find they are all basically philosophical sentences. And in between, of course, there are certain things like mudra. Mudra, I think they are very, very useful. I don't know the meaning of those mudras actually. In my book also I have said there are 24 mudras. I know how to do those mudras, but then what exactly is the meaning of the mudras I could not say. Though I have given some meaning to the Uttara mudras, the 8 mudras, Surabhir, Jnana, Netrancha, I have given meanings in that my book. But then the first 24, I could not find anybody who can give the meanings of those things. So this contemplation of this Sandhya, this meditation of this nature, we are doing 3 times a day means 3 times a day we are perfecting, or rather we are going out for our day-to-day interactions with a pure mind. It is like wearing the right type of spectacle and going out. If you don't wear the right type of spectacle, you will not be able to move forward. So Sandhya Vandana is reminding oneself of the divine nature of all the beings. So that is with such great purity of mind, with such great correctness, a person goes into the world, or rather for his day-to-day interactions. It may be your office, it may be general, any business, any nature, any activity which you are undertaking. So in all these things, our actions will be perfect, our approach will be perfect, and our mind is pure. So that is what we find here. And the sun, as I said, sun is the greatest manifestation, as we see in that Vibhuti Yoga of Bhagavad Gita also. That is Amshuman. I am that Amshuman. Amshuman, that Surya is my Vibhuti. So that is what Lord Krishna also says. So it is not exactly sun worship. It is not exactly any worship of any other deity or anything. It is a meditation on our own nature. It's a meditation on our own nature. and to see the divinity in ourselves and to see divinity in all the beings. So I just very, very briefly I told about the nature of Sandhya Vandana. I mean the philosophical meaning of Sandhya Vandana. If there are any questions about anything further, I will be able to. I'll try to answer because there are very few people are there, and there are any questions, Chandru Sharma ji, Ramachandru Sharma. So I want to stop here because almost all, the whole text is like that. Ayat Varada Devi Aksharam Brahma Samitam. Aksharam Brahma, again you see, Ayat Varada Devi Aksharam Brahma Samitam. Aksharam Brahma is that imperishable Brahma. And we know the difference between Brahma and Brahma. I think most of us, for some people, of course, they may not be knowing. The Brahma is one and Brahma is another. For example, in the very sloka, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma. When we say, the very first line says Guru Brahma, there is elongated A. And in the second line, you see, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma. So what is the difference between this Brahma and that Brahma? So when we say Brahma with elongated A, we are referring to that creator Brahma, Srishtikarta Brahma, who is the husband of Saraswati. And Saraswati means knowledge. So Srishtikarta is somebody who is supposed to have knowledge. So his, say whatever, power is his Shakti is shown as a female and then it is shown as a consort, his consort. So Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Brahma, when we say Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, the short Brahma, when we say that, we are referring to that supreme Brahma, that is Nirgunam Brahma, which is beyond name and form, which is called Nirguna, Nirakara, that entity. It is only an entity, it is not a person. When we say Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, or Rudra, they are masculine, they are in masculine gender. They are visualized as persons. But when we talk about Nirguna Brahma, it is not a person, it is an impersonal entity. That is what we have to realize. So Ayat Varada Devi Aksharam Brahma Samhitam Gayatrim Chandasam Matedam Brahma Idam Brahma Jushaswami. Again, this Brahma again refers to Veda. Depending on the context, Brahma means Veda, Brahma means that supreme reality. But when we are referring to that creator, we definitely say Brahma. Then like Adanhat Kurte Papam Tadanhat Pratumuchate, all these things they are again assurances, self-assurances. Ojosi, Sahosi, Balamasi. Ojaha means Indriya Shakti. Ojaha is you are giving the Indriya Shakti. Saha is mental strength. Indriya Shakti is Ojaha. Saha is mental strength. And again, Balamasi. Bala is physical strength. There are three types of strengths which are mentioned here. One is Indriya Patutvam. Then again is toughness of heart, what we call Dhruti. Then again, physical strength. Ojosi, Sahosi, Balamasi, Brajosi. Braja is that brightness. So Devanam, Ramanamasi, etc. So all other things there are some mantras. There are some shlokas. We know the difference between we have to know the difference between mantra and shloka. For example, when we say Apavitra, Pavitro, Asarva, Sanghadopa, etc., they are all shlokas. Mantra is the Vedic mantra. Like Udyantamassayantam Adityam Avidhyayan, it is a mantra from a particular. There are mantras from different portions of Vedas. Different portions of the Vedas, some mantra from Rig Veda, some mantra from Yajurveda, etc. And in this book, of course, this Yajurveda Sandhya Vandanam. So all the mantras are from Yajurveda only. So that is how I very briefly I tried to give you the meaning of this. Then again, this Sapta Vyahuti, Om Bhuhu, Om Bhuvaha, Om Suvaha, Om Maha, etc. These are all various regions, various worlds we call it. All these things. That Omkara, again, I did not talk about Omkara. In my book, I have given a very big article on Omkara. What is the meaning of Om? I have given a very big article on that. That book that can also be seen. The meaning of Om. I have introduced an article in that. Then again, this Om Satyam, Om Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Om Apo Jyoti Raso Amritam Brahma Bhutbhuva Sono. That means all the five elements which we talk of, Prithvi, Apas, Tejo, Vayu, Akasha, all that thing is nothing else but that manifestation of that Om. So it is a Omkara Dhyana also here. Om Bhuhu, Om Bhuvaha, Om Subha, etc. Om encompasses the whole thing, all the 7 words which we are talking about, and all the 5 elements which are the basic ingredients for the entire creation. So that is what we see here. If there are any questions, I'll be able to, I'll try to answer.
So, sir, it's a excellent thing, sir, because Sandhya Vandanam, everybody, most of the things like people will be focusing on majorly on the mantras or mantradhas and the ritualistic things. But thing is, the entire essence of Sandhya Vandanam is lying in one mantram, which is Udyantam Astyantam Adityam Abhidyayin Kurvan Brahmana Vidvan Sakalam Bhadram Ashnute Asavadityo Brahmede Brahmaivasan Brahmapyati Evam Veda Asavadityo Brahma. Excellent. That is, whoever is doing every day and then with the contemplating the Brahman as sun, Surya, and then he becomes the Brahman. This is every time, morning, evening, and then afternoon, we are telling ourselves, and then the sadhaka telling himself that you are nothing but you are not a separate entity from the divine, and then you are yourself as a divine. That's a very good point, sir. I mean, you have emphasized more on the the entire essence of the Sandhya Vandanam. And then in addition to that thing, there are several beautiful points you have covered, sir. Actually, so first of all, Sandhyayana Ashuchar Nityam Anarha Sarva Kavarmasu. So this is a Nitya Karma as part of the Nitya Karma, as we are all know. So without Sandhya, like nobody is eligible to perform any karma, any other karma. Because Sandhya Vandanam is one of the 6 Nitya Karmas actually. Snanam Sandhya Japohomaha Devatanancha Pujanam Atidhyam Vaishvadevancha Shatkarmani Dinetani. This is what the Smriti Karas like given to us. Snanam, anyway, we are not doing the Snanam with the mantras and other things, but remaining all this. Sandhya Japaha, this is the basic thing, and then whole foundation and then pillar of everything. And then Homaha, Devatanancha Pujanam, that is Devatarchana, Atidhyam Vaishvadevancha. Nowadays, we are not able to perform the Snana in a proper way, and then Homa, Nityagni, it is completely gone. And then Atidhyam Vaishvadevam also like completely disappeared.
Yeah.
Only thing we could.
Panchamahayajnas, again, Panchamahayajnas, they are also Nitya Karma.
Yes, sir.
Panchamahayajnas are
Yes,
Deva
sir.
Yajna, Pitu Yajna, Swadhyaya Yajna, Atithi Yajna, and also Bhuta Yajna.
Thank
Those
you.
5 things. Those 5 things are also made mandatory
Yes,
because
sir.
there are 5 places where we do Jiva Himsa in the house, in every house. Panchasuna, there is some sloka in Manusmriti. Panchasuna, Suna means the place where you do Himsa to animals. Nowadays, of course, we also call the pest control fellow, and then all the pests in the house are killed. We are not supposed, strictly speaking, we are not supposed to kill. But then what happens is we do this pest control and kill all the animals, all the insects. So that again is a sin. So to expiate, as a sort of expiation for all those sins, we are supposed to do these 5 Mahayajnas, that is giving food to Atithi Yajna. Swadhyaya Yajna, I am supposed to study my own branch of Veda. Then again, Bhuta Yajna, I am supposed to give some food to the Bhuta. Then again, Deva Yajna, I am supposed to perform puja, etc. So like this, these 5 yajnas, we are supposed to do like that. So these are certain compulsory things mentioned. And one more point we see is there are certain shlokas, of course, not in Sandhya Vandana, but about Sandhya Vandana. If you, I mean, for example, very early in the morning, there are some Rakshasas who are going to capture that Surya, etc. Suppose we tell these things to a modern student, so that means that modern students, respect for this thing will go down. And we have to tell the actual meaning also there. You see, there are what are called Arthavadas in Veda. In fact, we can tell the shloka also and also tell him that you should not take it literally. So there are certain threats, there are certain promises and threats. So these promises and threats should not be taken as literal truths. For example, it says, what is that? say Mandeha Dehanashartham Udaye Samaye Ravihi Samihate Dvijotsushta Mantra Toyanjalitrayam. So the water which is offered by the Brahmin 3 times, they go as arrows and drive away the Rakshasas who are going to swallow that Surya. So it is again, and if you do not perform Sandhya by right time, you are going to hell. So these things, of course, we have to take them as tell the student, at least a modern student, we have to tell that all these things they are Arthavada. These are in our own Vedic literature. There is a thing called Arthavada. Arthavada is Arthamuddishya Vadaha. Artham means Prayojana. Arthamuddishya Vadaha means keeping a Prayojana in mind, keeping an object in mind, keeping an not object, objective, keeping an objective in mind, keeping some goal in mind. You are saying something. Oh, if you do this, if you read one sloka of Bhagavad Gita every day, you are going to Chandraloka. So that is again a promise. So these promises and threats are called arthavadas, which are not supposed to be taken literally. So many people get disconnected because of such arthavadas, because they take these arthavadas very literally. Oh, if I don't perform Sandhya Vandanam in right time, I'm going to hell. Anyway, I'm going to hell. So so that is how that man will think. So gradually they will lose respect for that also. So that is the reason why I concentrate on telling the philosophical meaning first, so that if they know the philosophical meaning, then whether they do it properly or partly or whatever it is, at least some benefit will be there. When they grow up, gradually when they get more Shraddha, because Shraddha also doesn't come straight away. To a 8-year-old boy, born and brought up in America, if you are expecting Shraddha, it is too much. Even here, it is not possible. So, gradually, it has to come. Gradually, once they know what are the fundamentals of our Vedanta, what is the fundamentals of philosophy, etc., then they will get greater and greater respect for our rituals. And because in every ritual, there is philosophy only. And our sages, they have done it so intelligently. They have put all those philosophical passages in these rituals.
Yes, sir. And I totally agree with you, sir, because you mentioned that and straight away from the beginning of your lecture, you mentioned that rituals are philosophical in nature. That's what you mentioned. That's really admired. The way you narrated your started your discussion, because every ritual, apart from the ritualistic thing, Ardha and then Kama, then the moksha entity is also part of like every ritual, because I do perform like from the smarta, every karma, the minute itself, Brahma karma samarabhe. For everything, like we'll tell about Brahma karma.
Brahma karma
Every karma, we are just doing it to attain the Brahma or to realize the Brahma within ourselves.
Yeah.
So, and then people leave this one, and then normally they'll always tell that, okay, Mano Vancha Palsadhyartham, all these things. We don't, as a Purohit, like I stopped mentioning about, if you are telling that Dharmartha Kama Moksha Chaturvidha Phala Purushartha Siddhyartham, the Ardha Kama covers everything. Whatever the n number of permutations and then combinations of Ardha Kamas,
they are all covered by that.
Itself. And then we are doing the karma for the true realization of the self-realization. That is the ultimate goal. But that will not be possible with a normal thing. That is the reason, without attaining the Ardha and Kama, it is not possible to realize that thing. That's the reason we are doing all these things. This is normally we try to.
Nitya karmas are all for Chitta Shuddhi. What Vedanta says is, or if we see Gita, with all the Nitya karmas are for Chitta Shuddhi. And the Chitta Shuddhi gives us the ability to go to the next level called Jnana Nishtha. Without Chitta Shuddhi, we don't have the eligibility to go to the Jnana Nishtha. So that is the reason why these Nitya karmas and all these things, they are mandatory. And only then, they give some purity of mind. At the same time, we are also supposed to do some Atma Sanyama, as we see in Atma Sanyama Yoga of Gita. So this karma also has to be done in association with Vairagya Abhyasa. All these things, they have to go simultaneously, so that a man gets eligibility to go to the next level called Jnana Nishtha. That is study of Vedantas, Shravana, Manana, Nidhyasana. That is, those 3 steps are told in that Vedanta, isn't it? So a person becomes eligible to go to that level only by doing karmas. Or at least karma is the basic step. And that karma also Nishkama karma. Sandhya Vandana, of course, etc. It's already Nishkama. There is no, result. There is no punyam or anything in that. But even other routine work, our swadharma, whatever swadharma we are supposed to do, we are supposed to do in that Nishkama mode. So that gives Chitta Shuddhi. That is what the basic step is.
And also, sir, in your thing, you mentioned it as a meditation. Actually, this is the fascinating word for the modern people nowadays. Like meditation means like, okay, sit in some room and then do it without thinking anything, or focus on something. Focus on something what that is, most of the people are being misled. Actually, our rishis have done that. So without an object, if you start doing the meditation at the beginning itself, at the level 0 itself, it is not possible for anybody.
This I have to clarify this point also. Meditation doesn't mean that you are driving away all thoughts.
Exactly.
Meditation doesn't mean that you are blocking away all thoughts and then keeping the mind totally. That is, Patanjala meditation is different from Vedanta meditation. All the Vedanta teachers, they make it very clear that Patanjali meditation, what we see in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Chitta Nirodha, etc., then it can also mean totally absolute, all these Chitta Vrittis, they are all blocked. But then here, we are our meditation is focusing on a particular thing. It is like a laser beam, like all the light waves go in a particular same wavelength, and then the same thing. Exactly the same thing Shankaracharya has given a definition for upasana. This is called Sandhya upasana also, isn't it? Upasana, Sandhya Shankaracharya defines it as Taila Dharavat Tulya Pratyaya Santatihi, he says. Taila Dharavat. Suppose you take oil into a beaker or something like that, and then you pour it slowly. You take castor oil and then pour it slowly. Then it doesn't fall in like drops. It goes like a long thread. Taila Dharavat Tulya Pratyaya Santatihi, it says. That is a stream of continuous thoughts, a continuous stream of similar thoughts. Sorry, a a stream of similar thoughts. Tulya Pratyaya is similar thoughts, similar thought process. Asankirna cha atat pratyayaihi. That is undisturbed by dissimilar thoughts. That is what is upasana. Upasana, a beautiful definition is given by Shankaracharya. That is, upasanam nama Tailadharavat tulya pratyaya santatihi asankirna cha atat pratyayaihi, he says. That is, if you pour oil from a beaker, like a long thread it comes. So it is a thread of, similar thoughts. Similar thoughts means what? You are doing Shravana Manana Nidhyasana, isn't it? The similar thoughts and Brahma. Suppose you are focusing on, you are doing meditation on the nature of this Jnanamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, etc., etc. So the meditation, all the thoughts are related to that only. There is no dissimilar thoughts coming. So that is what is Upasana. So here also when we are talking about Upasana, Sandhya Upasana, we have to do in the same way, keeping the artha in mind, keeping the meaning in mind. When you are keeping the meaning in mind, when you are doing that Anganyasa, first Karanyasa and then Anganyasa, etc., you are feeling that Gayatri into the whole body. That is how you are feeling. We have to feel. We have to feel that we are feeling the Gayatri, first of all, into our hands and then into the whole body. So that sort of feeling, we have to feel it. So that is why we call it a meditation.
Yes, sir. Yes,
It
sir.
is not blocking all thoughts. It is allowing similar thoughts.
And then this is for modern people, especially for the current generation people, right? It is very easy to contemplate, like meditation is not a thing like which can be focused on nothingness. It is, but thing is there is a systematic way of doing it, and then through regular practice and then consistency. And then during the particular time is also mentioned by Rishis, they have already experienced and explored everything, every option, and then they have found that, okay, this is the best way of doing that, or realizing the self-realization, all these things. That's a very good point, sir. I mean, and you mentioned also about that with awareness, and then with the awareness on the meaning. So when you really know the meaning of what is happening, and then starting from the Abohishtama mantras and then other things and the Surya Shama Mandish, so here, like we are just cleaning the outside, and then cleaning the Indriyas, and then purifying everything. And then we are invoking the Gayatri, Savitri, and then everything, Ayat,
Yes.
Varada Devi, Aksharam Brahma Samritam. That Gayatri Devi into ourselves, then our entire body, and then everything Asti become like a mantra, and then
Yes.
mantra and Devata. So this the same thing explained in the Mahanyasa also. Na Rudra Rudra Varchayat, Na Vishnu Vishnu Varchayat, Na Shakti Shakti Varchayat. So with whoever is doing like Upasana, we have to become the one with one same as the Upasana Devata only, then only we'll be able to experience.
Yes.
That's a very good point, sir. And the best point that you have mentioned is Anganyasa Karanyasa. This is the point I have verified in multiple Sandhya Vandana Bhashya Granthas and other things also. Nobody has mentioned about it. Nobody has touched this point. Tatsavidu Brahmatma Angushtabhyarmaha Brahma Vishnu Maheshwara, the Shadangas. Brahma Vishnu Maheshwara and then Satyam Jnana Anantam. So
Yeah,
Brahma
Shat Kushi. Yeah,
Sat-
Shat Kushi. Tripada Shat Kushi. That in the Shat Kushi, the Satyam Jnana Anandam Brahma is there. Vishnu, Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra also are also there. So this is something beyond the three Murti.
It's a Srushti Sthiti Laya, they have mentioned it, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. And then after that one, Satyam Jnanamanantam, this was explained in actually
Beyond that Srushti, yeah.
the characteristics of the Brahman as mentioned in Satyam Jnanamanantam Brahma Yove Danihi Tanguhayam Paramevyo Manso Oshna Desarvan Kaman Saha Brahmana Vipashite.
Vipashite Tasmadatmana Akasha Sambhutah. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, wonderful passage. Wonderful. In fact, that is the passage which we have to tell our kids. Akasha Dva Yehovah Yorakni Agnera Pahatya Prithvi. That passage we have to say.
Big
And
Bang
then we
clearly
see
mentioned
how our people have visualized the whole process of creation.
Yes, sir.
It is not as though God just said and then he took out some thing and then he breathed life into that. Not like that. Our people have thought it in a very rational way. It is a rational inquiry into the nature of reality. And finally, commentators say that all the description is not meant to tell you the process of Srishti, but to tell you that the whole thing is not different from Brahma.
Yes.
Tasmat Atmana Akasha Sambhutah. Atma, when that Atma only the first manifestation in that whole that space. And in that space, airs. So, like that, we have to tell some Vedanta philosophy to our kids. Along with this guy, along with this Sandhya Vandana, some little bit of Vedanta also, if we tell, they will understand.
Totally,
Modern
sir.
kids, particularly, they don't understand.
This is a very excellent point, sir. Because Satyam Jnanamanantam Brahma, nobody touched that point. Because after Srushti, Sriti, Laya, and then it is beyond everything. And then the beyond everything, the characteristics of the beyond everything is Satyam Jnanamanantam. So that's wonderful.
Because religions, we have to tell philosophy for this reason also. Because what do religions say? Religions talk about a particular God who is sitting somewhere in heaven, isn't it?
Yes.
But then Vedanta doesn't say like that. Vedanta doesn't say about religion says again when we come to Puranas talk about this God, that God, and all those things. But then Vedanta doesn't talk like that. Vedanta talks about the Nirguna Brahma, which is manifesting as the everything, which is manifesting as everything in the universe, all including the Chetana, Achetana, everything. So that is what we have to tell our kids also. They will appreciate. First of all, they will appreciate. And when we say God is not a personal, it is not a personal God. He is not somebody who is sitting there. He is not like a supercomputer. It is of the nature of Jnana. Prajnanam Brahma. It is of the pure nature of Jnanam. Not that he is an intelligent person. There is a difference between an intelligent person and nature of Jnanam, isn't it? They say the very nature is Jnana Swarupa. Jnana Swarupa is different from being highly intelligent.
Yes,
so intelligent means I know something else. That means there is a Dvaita, there is a duality in that. When you are Jnana Swarupa, there is no duality in that. So that is why it is called Anantam. There is no duality in that. In Anantam, there is no duality. So such certain things we can, if we tell our kids, they will understand. They do understand.
Definitely, sir. And then Sandhya Vandana is one of the best thing that can be explained in detail about it without elaborating too much, like getting into dwelled into too many topics in that. But this 120 minutes or 15 minutes thing, I always wonder, sir. I mean, pranayam also, asanas also, everything, and then tattvam also, and then
again, mudra again is very, very relevant for all the modern people because you are all people always on the computer. Probably our people introduced all these mudras because they were also writing. There used to be ghantam, isn't it? With that ghantam, they used to write on palm leaves or some other bhurja patra. So, which means that all the while their fingers and then their activity was there with fingers. So, what that finger exercise, basically it stimulates all the nerves, isn't it? When we are doing these mudras, they stimulate all our nerves. So that is again we have to see. Pranayama again is again which gives so much of freshness. So pranayama, mudra, everything is there in this.
It's actually the whole process of Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya Kosha to achieve the Anandamaya Kosham. This Annamaya Kosham is the purification with the Apohishtama mantras and then Suryashtama Manjishta, these kind of mantras, and then Pranamaya Kosham is through Pranayama. 16 Pranayamas I've counted, sir. 16 Pranayamas should be followed in the Sandhya Vandanam strictly. If you look at the ancient scripts and all, 16 Pranayama every day, every Sandhya Vandanam, if you can do that, that is more than enough. And then with the Saptavyahurti Pranayama, Sashira Gayatri. So with the contemplating each and every Vyahurti at our chakras, that's the highest kind of meditation, that becomes like a meditation only, literally.
I can add one more point here. I have also seen one teacher who also does this 6 chakras in the body. So Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, then again Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddhi, and then again Ajna Chakra and Sahasrara, isn't it? So while doing this pranayama, first you concentrate on this Mooladhara. And then again, that is calling for or reminding oneself that Mooladhara Chakra, that is whatever food we take, that is basically Annamaya Kosha, isn't it? That has to be pure. Then again, Swadhisthana, that has to be purified. Then Manipura Chakra, Manipura Chakram, that also has to be purified. All these chakras, that means our physical, the Panchabhuta level comes up to this point. Akasha stops here, isn't it? Then again, Ajna Chakra is beyond that Panchabhutas. They are not beyond Panchabhutas, that sense organs, isn't it? Because sense organ also is from the Tanmatra of the Panchabhutas. Tanmatra of the Panchabhutas. Then again, this Ajna Chakra, when we come to Ajna Chakra, that is all our senses. Then Sahasrara is beyond the senses also, beyond the senses, that supreme reality. So I saw one teacher who was also meditating like that. So it depends. That is probably his own individual innovation. But I thought it was also meaningful.
Yes, sir. Actually, while verifying that pranayama, granthas and other things, it was clearly mentioned that when we do the pranayama, right, Om Bhava, Om Sava, these are the Sapta Vyahritis are attached to the Sapta Chakras. And then Tat Savitru Varenyam. Savitru Varenyam is, we are getting drawing the energy from the Pranashakti, from Savitru. The Savitru Devata is in Antariksham, from our relative point of view. So, Tat Savitru Varenyam, Bhargo Devastam, Dhiyaha, Yaha, Naha, Prachodaya. That will again come down back to the Mooladhara, and then it will be spread.
Yeah, that is again one way of visualizing. This is all meditation or visualization, isn't it? So that is one way of visualizing.
And then with this one, and then pranayama, and then pranamaya kosha, and then manomaya kosha, with the awareness of each and what we are doing and everything, and then vijnanamaya, like with the meanings and all. Then finally, ultimately, like goal is always like anandamaya kosha. That's with the just 2-3 mantras you quoted, and then you have hit straight to the point. I mean, without doing that. That's
Yeah, the rest of the things, they are basically various connecting mantras.
Yes, sir.
Connecting mantras, and also Manasa Chava Chasta Jam Padyamadrina Jishnaratri Statorum Patu. There's nothing much in that. Yeah, of course, in the afternoon mantra there is some meaning. Yaduchishtam Abhojim Yadva Dusharitam Mama Sarvam Purantuma Po Satancha Pratigraha Kriswaha. That is a person by mistake, if he has accepted something from undesirable people, so that again he is doing some prayaschitta. So at every step he is purifying him. That is, he is doing prayaschitta for any act unknowingly done by him. So such things are also, when we explain it in detail, we can explain such things. But I just wanted to confine myself to the philosophical aspect.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then you have already mentioned that it is a purification process, and then by removing the sins and other things. So this is that's what Yadanhath Kurudev. See, when we feel that ourselves is the divine is always like impure. Always like a pure. So ourself is like with the various rajas tamogunas, and then we are becoming like impure. So when the real self, we are assuming that like it's always pure only, we are not touching the impurity, and then we have to always focus on the pure thing, the divine thing. Then slowly we can evolve and then try to achieve that one. So that's the core essence of it. And then you have tried to, that's what, as I mentioned earlier, you have straight away hit the target, like, that came from your knowledge, and then profound knowledge and the Advaita and this thing. Today, I'm really honored and then privileged, sir, to be part of your discussion and then to meet you. And then thank you, Guru Garu, for giving this great opportunity to have this conversation with
So thank you, sir. Professor Prabhakarji. Thank you.
Yeah.
You want to make any final comment?
I want to invite some people who are just in the meeting. Kritivasan and Sindhu, anyone have anything to talk about this Sandhya? Sandhya Vandanam is not simply a compulsory thing for all people, because my father said I should do Sandhya Vandanam. My grandfather, then father says, no, my father and grandfather were doing Sandhya, so I am doing, so you should do it. That is not the pleasing explanation for the boy. These days, the children are more intelligent and inquisitive. Why should I do Sandhya Vandanam? Is a good question. And so the aspects that Sandhya Vandanam would reveal are many. And moreover, Sandhya Vandanam is an anthology. All the mantras in Sandhya Vandanam are anthology, taken from different Vedic texts. So Vedic and Yogic texts all combined, and will take only, depending upon the Gayatri mantra stretch. Otherwise, it takes only 10-15 minutes. So important is the Arghyam. So sometimes when that Prasuti Sutakam comes up, at least Arghyam, Sandhya Vandanam is not given up. At least up to Arghyam one has to do it, if not further. So there are so many exceptions and conveniences that are suggested by our people, but still nobody denied that you can completely stop Sandhya Vandanam. Even sannyasis are also have to do Sandhya Vandanam, and it is not accepted for them sometimes. So this Gayatri Upasana, as our Ravindra are telling, we are going beyond these Trimurtis. These Trimurtis also perish when Pralayam happens, but only the Parabrahma is there. That's why Ahameva Parabrahmasmi, Brahmaivaham na paraha. So, and one another point is this Arghyam, Arhate Anena iti Arghyam. And that is, this only water is the best one to be offered. So that's why it's plenty available. And then that water is a kind of cold pack treatment to the pains, to relieve the pains of the gods. Especially people say that during the Sandhya time, they feel some kind of pain. If you offer this Arghyam, then that will be a pain relief also. So number of medical other benefits are there. And I'm so happy and able to have the author of the Sandhya Vandanam. He has written, the Sandhya Vandanam book is 144 pages and more. So wherein he has been trying to explain so many facets of this right Sandhya Vandanam, taking those mantras. And it's a Bible to all people. I should say that they can just, in fact, I presented a little number of copies here, which could I bring. And Ramasarma has given freely to all people, and they have been reaching all people. And so whenever Upanayana is done, and that is being given to them as a best presentation, because they will search for that. And also, I am thankful for Aravinda Garu. He has sent me in WhatsApp also is the e-copy of the Sandhya Vandanam, because then e-copy is easy for people to come. And many people have downloaded, started doing here, and in India also in our Nadaveda WhatsApp. So there are many books on Sandhya Vandanam, but this book seems to be telling, because Artha Sahita performance will be always advantageous. What we are doing, people must know. The Karanam, Karanam, these are most important, and Artham. And so I am really delighted to note down the philosophical aspect and other points which which is discussed by Ramachandra Sharma, here Ramachandru, and also you, sir. And it is a big subject. It cannot be completed very briefly, but there are other people who have joined, but I don't know whether you do Sandhya Vandanam or not, but that culture is there embedded in our personality. Brahmana, Vaishya, Kshatriyas, all of them have got that inner culture inside. But only thing is, Parameswara Kripa should be there, that should appear to us in practice also. So, whatever it is, Ahararva Sandhyam Upasita, So Sandhya Vandanam is a mandatory one. One has to do it. And moreover, there is a differentiation in the choice of the mantras in these three times performing the Sandhya. And so ultimately what we want to communicate to the young children is that whether or not you understand the meaning of the mantras which you are doing, simply do it. So when you do it, it will have its own impact on us, and slowly we understand, because we need not wait to understand, but you just recite that and do it. And today we have a wonderful opportunity to know about the expanse of the mantras provided in the Vedanta, in yoga, in Vedas, and everywhere. So we can understand the all-round knowledge of Sri Aravinda Garu. Here, his profession doesn't matter. His difficulties don't matter as in profession. But with pure encouraging mind, he has presented the whole situation, and we are happy because we have got this very interesting that everything begins from the fingers, hands, and anganyasa, karanyasa, and all the mudras, and also the tantra, astraya, tatu means you make a sound like this. So all these things add protection for the Vatu, because Vatu is always a glass bottle like, and he has to fortify himself. Therefore, as our Radharaga said, Vojosi, Sahosi, Balamasi, Brajosi, and these are all the things that we are every day, 3 times a day we invoke into us. So you mean that we are getting stronger and stronger, and we don't become weak at all. Not only that, we are getting rid of the sin also. Yadanhat kurute papam, tadanhat pramuchyate, yadratriyat kurute papam, tadratriyat pramuchyate. That means as we wash our hands quite now and then, when COVID-19 attacked all people, that was the first instruction: wash your hands, wash your feet, and cover your mouth and breath. That was a kind of Sandhya Vandanam, actually, I should say. So here also in Sandhya Vandanam, whether or not that comes or not, but you are trying to shield yourself magically, and philosophically, at the same time spiritually also, so Sandhya Vandana is minimum right. Afterwards, that's why giving importance for Sandhya Vandanam, Manusmriti, as you people, as quoted by you, Sandhya, Snanam, Japa, Homa, that is the order. But when you go to the Parasar Smriti, written by Parasara for Kali Yuga Dharmas, he says Sandhya, Snanam, Japam, Homa. So Snanam, because people are always telling, after a bath, I will take Sandhya, I will do puja. They take bath at 1 o'clock in the noon. Where is puja? Potta puja only takes place. No Sandhya, no Sandhya, no puja. Hardly there are people who take bath in the Brahmi Muhurtam, or even just all instructions are given. So people are not at all keeping up the Snanam time. Snanam is something which we do after food also. After lunch also people do Snanam in America. So actually it is banned. After taking food, you are not go to Snanam. So Snanam also is a Aghamarshana Snanam, they call it. So Aghamarshana means you are trying to cleanse up internal and external, and the Aghamarshana Sukta of the Maha would tell you what kind of impurities and problems are there with the water which you are using. But Varuna with his hand, what is the Varuna hand? Water is the Varuna's hand. Akhamarshana, Varunopa, Akhamarshana hand. He will try to wipe out all that sins, outer and internal and external. So when we will just examine or study the mantras that are put into the framework of Sandhya Vandanam, amazing. And how much protection is being given to that. But these days people don't understand, and they square. But slowly, and I'm really thankful that this book is reaching many more people when it becomes a e-copy to us. And many people have told me that they are downloading and trying to understand, sir, very good book and all that. So that way, today we have just made a beginning to note about the primary duty of all these three caste people. If Sudras, when these three people do something, that will automatically...
Let us say Varna, sir. Let us say Varna, not caste.
Varna, that's it. It
Because
automatically...
these are these three Varnas.
Yes.
So let us not say caste.
Yes.
Caste is again Jati.
And
that's-
actually, sir, I have while reading something, and then I got to know from Brahmasri.
We have both disturbed Dr. Prabhakar garu. Let Prabhakar Rao garu continue because
No. I won't want to say
I just disturbed him. Yeah.
Gurugar, one point here, Brahmasri Sambhava Sharma garu Gurugar Pravachanam also, and then in Devi Bhagavat also they mentioned it. So it's all the varnas based on what eligibility and then what criteria it was defined, and then they have to perform the Sandhya Vandanam. For example, if it is a Shudra varna, they'll have to put more focus on the working thing. So they cannot sit and do and then spend this much time on this one. So for them, the Sandhya Vandana is looking at the sun and then do a namaskaram with the Sri Ramayana Namaha, Sri Krishna Namaha, whatever the nama they belong to. That becomes like a Sandhya Vandanam is over for them. But if it is Visa who is having this yajñopavitam, compulsory they have to sit and then do all these things in a given process. But both are equivalent, and then they have a separate Gayatri mantra also, which was given in the Devi Bhagavat.
Let us come to the concluding words of Prabhakar garu because it is already 8:30.
Conclusion is that in Vishnu Sahasranamam we have got the word Sudraha Sukham Avapnuyat. So there it is said Yogo Gnanam Tatha in the series, Sudraha Sukham Avapnuyat means whatever good work and all that done by the other people, that will only promote the happiness of them because they are serving the society and they are very much useful to all those things. Anyway, so we have just opened the talk on Sandhya Vandanam, and again in next series, as our Aravinda Rao said, Devata Archana is also, he mentioned about Devata Archana. Before we go to Devata Archana, Sandhya Vandana is a prerequisite. Nobody will perform Devata Archana without Sandhya Vandanam, because that's why it's the first step. And so it's very nice talk, sir. The time is limited every time for you, because you can all are Maharathas, Atirathas, Jayadrathas, like in their own respective knowledge and vistas of that. But we are always bound by the program, by the time. Kalaya Tasmai Namaha. So thank you very much for your participation and trying to enlighten all people. It is going to be in YouTube. Large number of people will be really enjoying and experiencing and also knowing that we cannot ignore Sandhya Vandanam, however it is, wherever it is. Galilo Sandhya Vandanam kuda cheyatsu. So if water is not available, at least you can have a Manasika Sandhya Vandanam performed, or in the air, with air you can do it. So, but anyway, karma is mandatory, all that. So anyway, so thank you, sir. We are just opening the mandatory karma to all people, and we'll have some such series. And next month or so, I think Ramchandra is talking on some other aspect like this. So this kind of traditional practices which will really make our janma rewarding, because Bahunam Janmanam Ante Gnanavan Mam Prapachati means Krishna always want every janma should be a Gnana janma, not a Pasu janma and all that. So today actually you have enlightened all people with this knowledge of Sandhya Vandanam. Thank you very much, sir. Anybody, anything to nothing? So Sivalingaya, if you are there, let us conclude. Om Swasti.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahavijankaravavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve bhadrani pasyantu ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. हरिः ओम तत्सत् सर्वं श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु श्रीवासुदेवार्पणमस्तु श्रीवेदपुरुषाशीर्वादोऽस्तु ॐ श्रीमातृचरणारविन्दार्पणमस्तु ॐ तत्सत् हरि ओम नमस्ते नमस्ते
So thanks to Sivalingaya who has rendered all this beginning and last. And he's a Veda, Nada Veda, Kendra student, and so many other people are there. And also to Deepti who rendered Sangeetam. To all of you, sir, thank you very much. God bless us all.